everybody and welcome back to my channel. So, hi. So much is going on in the world right now and holy smokeroos. Let's take our minds off of it. I wanted to give you guys a Wicked Wednesday this week. This is actually going to be a two-part Wicked Wednesday. So the actual stories and the history this week, and then next week you guys will get my personal experiences at this location and the surrounding areas of Old Town San Diego. So before I get into it, if you guys like this kind of stuff, please subscribe to my channel. It totally helps me out. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. You guys know the drill. The YouTube algorithm needs interaction in order for me to get noticed, and I would love it if you guys helped me out. And comments down below could be literally anything. Hi, hello, throw an emoji down there. Let me know of a place you want me to research or a story that you have that you would like me to find something to film about for. Just anything. Just give me something. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I think this is going to be a little bit long. Also, if you guys see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. If you guys want to know what research goes into these videos, notes. Lots and lots of notes. So notes here, there's notes here and here and here and here. So it goes into a lot. This is kind of like my script and my notes and how I keep track of these videos. So today we are talking about the Cosmopolitan Hotel. No, not the Cosmopolitan in Vegas, the Cosmopolitan in Old Town San Diego. So let's get started. If you ever take a trip to San Diego, I highly recommend going to Old Town San Diego as well. It's not too far from downtown, but you do have to drive there or Uber there. But downtown is full of so much history and culture and quite a few restless spirits. You could walk into just about any shop downtown Old Town and there is some sort of story about a ghost or something paranormal happening there. And quite honestly, just the paranormal and the spooky just fills the air, and Old Town fully embraces it. One of the far corners of the main square in Old Town is a park. If you ever go there, it is a California state park, and there is an actual square, a grass square. There's more to Old Town than just this square. It goes on for, I want to say, a couple of miles. So there's a lot that you can do and see. But at one corner of the square proudly stands a Spanish colonial style building. This used to be a home. It was originally built by Juan Lorenzo Bandini in 1827. So Lorenzo originally built this house for his wife and daughters, and it was actually the largest estate in San Diego at the time. And now when I say in San Diego, keep in mind, Old Town San Diego is where San Diego was actually located, not where San Diego stands today. So keep that in mind. That does play a little bit into the story later on. Now, this house is, like I said, Spanish colonial style, and it is really pretty. It is an adobe house made with a brick patio going around it and muslin ceilings. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that word, but I've read two different things and I don't want to give you guys the wrong information, so I'm going to give you guys both. Some say before and some say after Mr. Bandini's death. Some say he had to sell it to get out from gambling debt. Some stories say that it was sold after his death, but it was sold to a man named Albert Seeley, and he had purchased the property in hopes of turning it into a hotel and creating this traveler's paradise there at that home. Now, Seeley was successful in turning this place into a traveler's paradise. It had beds, entertainment, food. There were 10 large rooms for $1 a night and 10 small rooms for 50 cents a night. Seeley was quite the businessman. So of course he transformed this home into a beautiful hotel, but he also ran a transportation business where he was running stagecoaches multiple times a week. I want to say 3 to 5. Yeah, it just says multiple times a week from LA to San Diego, and that is quite the trek if you're not driving a car. I'll put the mileage down here from LA to Old Town San Diego, but that is a pretty decent drive. So what he basically was doing was he was running that coach, so he would go up to take his travelers up to LA, pick up travelers in LA, and bring them back down to San Diego, and basically funneling them into the hotel, creating quite the successful business. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the actual San Diego is a little bit of ways away. If I can put the mileage or figure it out, I'll put it here for you guys or somewhere here. But as today San Diego started to emerge, it wasn't as common for people to go into Old Town. People were going straight into San Diego where the nightlife was emerging. There is the Gaslamp district that was created, and there's so much history in San Diego, it's amazing, but people started just going to San Diego and not stopping back at Albert Seeley's hotel anymore. So Seeley ended up actually selling the property because it just wasn't a good business venture for him anymore. So when Seeley sold the property, it was a restaurant as well as an olive oil factory. You can still actually get olive oil in the square. It's just not manufactured there anymore. But eventually, I don't remember the year, but California did acquire the property, all of the property around it as well, and turned it into a state park and restored the building to its 1870s look. So that's what it is looking like today when you go in there, and I'll put as many photos as I can into this video for you guys to see it. They do really keep the inside looking old and creepy, in my opinion. It's not really my style, but they do try and keep it historically accurate inside. The patio outside doesn't look as dated. It definitely has a Spanish style to it. There's a bar out there, but the whole place is fully restored. You can stay at the Cosmopolitan as well and stay in the rooms, and of course, where else would you be staying? In the bar? But there is a bar inside. I have a story about that bar. But you can stay there, and people have so many stories about it, and some big YouTubers have also stayed there as well. So definitely after this video, look it up, and if I can find some that I really, really like, I might link them down below. But there's definitely like people ghost hunting there, a lot of people, and people finding some really interesting things. So let's get into the actual spooky side of things, which is probably why you clicked on this video. So oddly enough, I haven't been able to confirm any actual deaths on the property, but to be completely honest with you, I'm not equipped with the tools, or do I know how to do the research to properly research that, so disclaimer there. But I didn't find anything that was readily available to me to know that. A lot of places you do find confirmed deaths. Here, not so much. But with that being said, I am not going to be surprised at all if there can be confirmed deaths on the property. Like I said, this was a hotel. This was back at a time where disease was running rampant. There was a bar in there. Bar fights are a thing. And this was the Wild West. So I wouldn't be surprised if people died on the property, around the property, in the beds. That wouldn't blow my mind. This is a time when California was just not what California is today. Also, I did notate here, this was pre-modern medicine, and people are traveling. When people travel back in the days, even now, we get sick when we travel. So, the people were traveling from LA down to San Diego. Diseases were being swapped. Prostitution and syphilis wasn't uncommon. So, yeah, like I said, I would not be surprised if there were multiple deaths on that property. Now, there is also a tale that unfortunately, I hate saying I can't confirm these things, but I really can't. I can't confirm it, but I've heard from multiple people in Old Town who I would trust as sources that claim that there was one of the hanging trees right outside of the Cosmopolitan. And if you've been to Old Town, they say that the tree is still there, that it is that big tree. Like the Cosmopolitan is here, and then here's the square, like going this way, that the tree right over here on the opposite corner, kind of towards the middle, that they say that was a tree that could have potentially been the hanging tree. So those deaths also would have been very, very close. There's a lot of energy in that area. But there is a confirmed hanging where the gallows were, which is, I want to say a mile, maybe 2 miles up the road. Now that confirmed location is the Whaley House, which is one of the most haunted homes in America. I've never actually been inside of it for the amount of times I've been to Old Town. I've never been in the Whaley House. I've definitely been on the Whaley property though. But Yankee Jim was hung there, hanged there. Yankee Jim was sentenced to death there. But I can't confirm the one in the town square. And I can tell you firsthand, and you can even see through photos that I'm going to be putting in this video, the Cosmopolitan, when you walk through the doors, you just get this spooky vibe, and it's beautiful and old, all wrapped into this perfect package. I have never actually stayed at the Cosmopolitan, but I have walked the grounds during the day as well as at night. I want to say 2 or 3 times. The last time I was there, I did have my own personal experience, 2 experiences that one night. Next week, that video will be coming up, so be sure to subscribe so you can see that. And as I mentioned before, there are multiple videos and articles and so many different things about the Cosmopolitan and people doing their actual ghost investigations there. People have found some very, very interesting evidence. Some of it I think is all coincidental. Some of it is, in my opinion, pretty valid looking evidence. If ghosts are real, then that is a ghost doing those things. But the most well-known haunting is that of Isadora Bandini's ghost. Isadora, to my knowledge, didn't die on the property, but that doesn't mean she can't haunt there. It isn't uncommon for us to hear about people returning to one of their favorite places, and in this case, this was her childhood home turned into a hotel. There is stories of her returning to the hotel as a normal human, not as a ghost, where she loved coming back and visiting and just reliving the memories of her family and her childhood home. Her room of choice was room 11, and she went there whenever she could, and that was the room she always stayed in, according to the stories. And people say that that is the most active room in the house. So there is quite a few reports of just general mischief occurring in room 11 and throughout the entire property. But particularly in that room, people experience electronic equipment failing, turning on and off, lights turning on and off, things moving off tables, things just moving from where they were before, things going missing, blinds moving, sheets fluttering, doors opening and closing. And the most creepy one of all, in my opinion, is the feeling of just being watched while you're in there. And I mean, things, blinds and stuff moving could potentially be older windows, a draft, but other stuff just is a little creepy to me. Now, that general mischief basically is reported strongest in room 11, but also throughout the entire house or hotel, whatever you want to call it. There are also supposedly apparitions that appear in the dining hall, people looking like they're still just eating their meal, people at the bar walking around, even out in the courtyard where the outside bar is and like the little dining area is. There are reports of people being out there as well, particularly a woman being outside. Now, for the most part, these apparitions don't seem to be intelligent apparitions. They just seem to be recreating an act that they would have been doing back in the day. But the responses that people get in their spirit boxes or in their recorders are sometimes what sound like intelligent responses as opposed to what sounds like general conversation. They are actually responding to questions that people may pose to them. So it does sound like there could potentially be intelligent ghosts who can interact with people there as well. And there is also reports of a ghost child in the actual bar area. When you walk into the hotel, you do kind of walk into the bar, and there are reports of a ghost child being there, messing with guests, pulling on shirts, moving glasses, messing with batteries, just general kid playful stuff. And then my personal favorite, there is supposedly a ghost cat also roaming the building. People often report seeing the cat up on the actual catwalk up on top of the building that goes around the rooms. People will say that they see a cat, or guests will say that they saw a cat walking around, and then they round the corner and it's gone, and there's no way it could have jumped down there, and there was nowhere for it to go up on the actual catwalk. But nobody really knows or has a clue who this cat belongs to. But I think it's really sweet. Ghost animals. At the Whaley House, they also say that there's a dog that haunts there. So a cat at the Cosmopolitan and a dog at the Whaley House. Kind of a trend for Old Town. But one of my theories, and one of the things I find really interesting, is cats are often depicted as beings that keep bad spirits away. Cats are seen as spiritual protectors to households. So this cat could potentially be a spiritual protector of the building and be keeping the bad spirits away and just keeping the general mischief, Isadora and the kid at the bar there, and everybody else, all the bad things away that people do say haunt the rest of Old Town. There are some pretty depressing and scary hauntings that people claim out there as well. With this being one of the most haunted locations in California, some people claim the US, but I'll stick with California for now. I find it very interesting that there isn't some weird tragic backstory like at the Whaley House or the Winchester House, or at the hospital in LA that people claim is haunted. A lot of places you find this crazy tragic backstory, and that's what fuels these ghost stories. But in this place, it's just people's experiences that really fuel it. Isadora's story is sweet and sad that this is some place she longed so much to be at. She would come back even after she left. But it's not, to me, tragic in any way. The whole place is just active, and I find it really, really interesting. And the history of Old Town, they have done such a good job at preserving it and really embracing the culture. As a whole, San Diego is really cool, but Old Town really, really works really hard to keep that there, and the ghost stories are intertwined into just being there. There's stories of just ghosts walking around the square as well. So I do definitely recommend going out there and experiencing it for yourself. There's a lot of places you can visit. And even in San Diego, like the new San Diego, there's a lot of like ghost stories there as well. So the whole city itself is just full of paranormal craziness. So that is everything that I have on the Cosmopolitan Hotel. I know today was kind of a more light-hearted ghost story that I had, but I know sometimes my cryptids and some other ghost stories can be a lot more serious and just like very, very straight. This one just, it makes me excited, and it's just really cool to talk about the history of it and the things people are experiencing. So I'd be no offense when I talk about ghosts, but I found smiling. It's just because I'm smiling because I love to talk about ghosts. But yeah, so that is everything for today. Again, I can't say it enough. Be sure to subscribe because next week I will tell you guys my personal ghost stories. I think I have three quick ghost stories that happened in Old Town. 2 of them happened on the actual Cosmopolitan property. So be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and if you stuck around this long, leave me a What emoji are we gonna do today? Leave me a skull and crossbones, because there's a harbor right there and that's like a pirate thing, right? That's what we're gonna go with. Leave me a skull and crossbones down below if you made it this far. And again, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Alright, you guys, stay spooky.